Hello, welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. 8BSFLBAG. Chapter 141. The Order of Central 46. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Seoul Society, Technology Development Agency. Shotro level, the current alert level is 4, this is very serious. Get out, such a situation has arisen, why do you report it so slowly? I'm sorry, there were fluctuations before, but every time you just need to adjust a little bit, you can easily deal with it. But this time, the situation is too sudden, and the energy fluctuations seem to fluctuate violently in an instant. At this time, people in the Technology Development Bureau surged, and various urgent voices kept ringing in the spacious corridor. Alarm! Report. There is an abnormal situation in the 80th block of East Rukongai. Boundary erosion correction 0.24 degrees. Please notify the correction team immediately. The people in the Technology Development Bureau frowned and kept running around. Faced with a sudden situation in the Forbidden Land, they had to report it to their superiors as soon as possible. Ajinsanshi, the border at the 80th block of East Rukongai was suddenly severely damaged, and the seal that we 20 previously built has been completely destroyed. The situation is extremely deteriorating. I am afraid that Seoul Society and Hawako Mundo will be opened again. A chief officer of the Technology Development Bureau ran up to Ajin panting, holding a lot of information in his hands, with deep worry in his eyes. Advertisement. The pupils of the third seat of the 12th squad suddenly shrank, and he said in extreme shock, impossible. Since we were tricked last time, Captain Yuri led us to set up a seal on purpose. Even a captain-level figure is impossible breaking that seal so easily, why would it be broken all of a sudden? If you don't have any special information, then you should step back. Ah Jin frowned slightly, and said with a heavy heart. Yes, I'm sorry. The officer's face was livid, and he responded in embarrassment. After the chief officer left, Sanshi Ajin hurried into a room and said worriedly, Captain, what should we do? At the end of his vision, a tall figure stood indifferently. Yellow pupils, often wearing a black and white two-color mask, and a dark purple collar with a dark purple collar turned outward. Captain of the 12th Division. The second director of the Technology Development Bureau. Kuritsuchi Mayuri. Kuritsuchi Mayuri raised his head slightly, and said lightly, don't make a fuss. Don't you know, who else can destroy the seal easily? He, Captain, who are you referring to? Ah Jin was at a loss, unable to think of who it was. Kuritsuchi Mayuri narrowed his pupils slightly, and said with deep eyes, Luyun. What, you think this has something to do with Luyun? Ah Jin opened his eyes wide in surprise, and exclaimed, but, hasn't he been missing for 3 days? Besides, now even Central 46 is starting to suspect him. Tisk tisk tisk. Don't you think that the Manos Grande attack has something to do with Luyun like those stupid old guys? When Kuritsuchi Mayuri mentioned Central 46 inches, a strong look of disdain flashed in the depths of his eyes. Advertisement. But, even if he can defeat Captain Kuchiki, he can't break through the boundary wall of Hawako Mundo, right? That's something you haven't figured out, Captain. Akin shook his head, expressing doubts about what Kuritsuchi Mayuri said. In his opinion, in the entire Seoul Society, maybe only Captain Yamamoto has the ability to break through the boundary wall with Reiatsu, and there is no one else. That guy is not as weak as you think. Kuritsuchi Mayuri, who has always been aloof, would actually recognize Luyun, which caused a huge wave in Ah Jin's heart who had been with him for decades. All in all, report this matter as soon as possible, I think the Seoul Society will make a big move soon. Kuritsuchi Mayuri did not speak too much, and directly issued an order. Yes, Captain. Ah Jin nodded solemnly, and left the room wisely. Luyun, how many secrets are hidden in that body of yours? I'm really looking forward to it. A strange light flashed in the depths of Kuritsuchi Mayuri's pupils, and his expression changed from normal, as if he was very interested in Luyun's body. Anyone who is familiar with Kuritsuchi Mayuri will definitely be on tenterhooks when they see this scene. Because they knew very well that Kuritsuchi Mayuri had already had the pervert idea of dissecting Luyun's body. Rukongai, Block 80. The scorching sun is shining brightly, clearing thousands of miles. Since the Manos Grande raid incident last time, it has once again become a forbidden area. Looking around, there is a vast expanse of yellow sand and barrenness. To be fair, the environment here is almost exactly the same as Hawako Mundo, the only difference is the clear sky. Suddenly, the sky was torn apart, and a beam of light condensed by Reiatsu pierced through the entire space. At the edge of the sky, a pitch black, endless black cavity unexpectedly appeared. Advertisement. Oh, it's finally back to Seoul Society, I really miss it. The long-lost sunshine is so warm. I'm tired of the darkness of Hawako Mundo. 680. It's a narrow escape. I think the 11th team must have been messed up during the time we left. We'll see Xiaojian soon, hehe. Luyun, Madarame Makaku, Ayasagawa Koki, and Kusajishi Yakiru walked out of the virtual circle and landed steadily. After disappearing for 3 days, they finally returned to Soul Society. Hey, what are these instruments? We seem to have destroyed them. Kusajishi Yakiru pointed aside and said curiously. The 3 of them followed his fingers and looked over, and they found broken instruments all over the floor. In fact, these instruments were the testing tools arranged by the Technology Development Bureau, but they were accidentally punched by Luyun. Don't worry about it, let's go back to Soul Society first. Luyun didn't take it seriously. On the other side, when the Technology Development Bureau conveyed the news, it immediately alarmed the entire Jingling court. What is even more unexpected is that Central 46 actually issued an arrest order. And the 2 people who carried out the arrest mission turned out to be 2 powerful captains. Team 7th Captain Komamura Sajin, Team 9th Captain Tusen Konami. P.S. Ladies and gentlemen, I have urgent matters today. I am really sorry. I will guarantee the bottom 5 tomorrow. Advertisement. Chapter 142 I refuse. Open black lens bracket seeking automatic subscription close black lens bracket. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. No one expected that Central 46 not only issued a hunting order, but also sent 2 powerful captains. 7th Team Captain Komamura Sajin, 9th Team Captain Tusen Konami. After the order was conveyed to Jingling Court, it immediately caused a huge commotion. Not only the residents of Rukongai don't know the truth, even the people of Gote 13 are surprised. They couldn't help wondering, what felony did Luyun commit, and 2 captains were dispatched to arrest him in person. Is the Manos Grande invasion really related to Luyun? In fact, Aizen was behind the incident, and it was he who was behind the scenes and fueled the flames, causing this rumor to continue to spread in Rukongai. Over time, with the fermentation of time, Luyun naturally became the biggest dislike. The team building of the first team, the team affairs room of the chief captain. Captain, something serious happened. Central 46 actually sent Komamura Sajin and Tusen Konami to Rukongai to arrest Luyun. Shojiro Sasaki hurried into the room and said in a panic. I already know about this matter. The captain did not respond immediately, but his raised brows and gloomy face had already expressed his inner emotions. Advertisement. At the first moment when he got the news, Captain Yamamoto was also extremely shocked. He didn't understand why Central 46 issued such an order. Unfortunately, due to Soul Society's long-standing rules, Captain Yamamoto has no right to interfere. He can only convey the order to Komamura Sajin and Tusen Konami. I'm afraid this matter will not end so easily. A wise light flashed in the vicissitudes of the eyes of Captain Yamamoto. Captain, do you think Luyun will resist? Shojiro Sasaki said. No, I'm worried that it's not Luyun, but Komamura Sajin and Tusen Konami. Captain Yamamoto said solemnly. You must know that they disappeared for 3 days. But in the past 3 days, we searched all over Rukongai and found no trace of them. It is conceivable that they went to Hawako Mundo. But even Captain Kuritsuchi Mayuri has mastered the technique of opening the black cavity, how could Luyun? Shojiro Sasaki still expressed doubts about this. As long as Reiatsu is strong enough, no technology is needed. Captain Yamamoto said solemnly. Have you forgotten the Reiatsu that Luyun Shikai released after that? There are also natural disasters that happened many times in the past, and the process of fighting against Zaraki Kenpachi, Byakuya Kuchiki, and Ichimaru Jin. Look, maybe we underestimated his strength. So, are you worried that Komamura Sajin and Tusen Konami are not Luyun's opponents? Shojiro Sasaki said tremblingly with a cold cry on his forehead. That's right, I think the 2 of them may suffer a lot. Captain Yamamoto's eyes flickered, as if he had predicted the outcome of this matter. On the other side, the team building of the 9th squad. Tusen, do you feel puzzled? I think the arrest of Luyun is too sudden. Although Komamura Sajin's appearance is hidden under the helmet, but the anxiety in his heart can also be felt through the sound quality. Advertisement. It's nothing. Central 46's order is absolute justice for us. We don't need to doubt it, and we shouldn't have any hesitation. The only thing we need to do is to fully implement this justice. Tusen Konami crossed his knees sitting, palms caressing the surface of the slender Zanpakuto. However, Luyun himself is not guilty. Even if the suspect is the most serious, he should not be arrested. I don't think this matter should be taken in such an extreme way. This will damage the relationship between Luyun and Gote 13. Komamura Sajin, although he didn't have any good feelings for Luyun, he looked at this matter with a fair and just attitude. I've said it all, justice doesn't need to be questioned. Tusen Konami retorted coldly. On the road of safeguarding justice, there must be people who sacrifice their lives. Only by abandoning all distracting thoughts can we go on this road without hesitation. Komamura, Your heart seems to be shaken. But, Komamura Sajin wanted to say something else, but Tusen Kanami had stood up and walked out of the house with a gloomy face, as if determined to carry out justice to the end. After all, Tusen Kanami's mind has been twisted because of the Rukongai murder incident, decades ago. He not only forgot the past, but also chose to follow Aizen in order to have a strong force to implement justice, and made an oath in front of Aizen. I want power. I want the power to achieve peace. If justice alone is not enough, I am willing to be that thing called justice. I must disperse all the evil in the world like a cloud, and gamble all my justice. What my eyes look at is the road that is not full of blood. Justice exists here. No matter which road I take in the future, it will be justice. The former Tusen Kanami swore an oath and embarked on a path of return. Sigh. Persuasion still failed to change Tusen Kanami's determination, but in desperation, Komamura Sajin could only follow Tusen Kanami's footsteps and rush to Rukongai. On the other side, Luyun and the others passed through blocks after blocks along the familiar streets, and returned to Run Linen again after only half a day. However, they encountered an accident when they just stepped into Run Linen. Advertisement. Komamura Sajin and Tusen Kanami appeared. Hey, isn't this Captain Hakumura and Captain Tusen? Yasugawa asked doubtfully. Are they here to welcome us? Luyun, of good money, was also surprised. No, Captain Tusen's face doesn't seem right. Madarame Makaku's heart sank, with a bad feeling. Sure enough, when Tusen Kanami opened his mouth, the atmosphere became extremely dignified. Luyun, I am here to arrest you under the order of Central 46. Tusen Kanami pulled out Zanpakuto, pointed the sharp point of the sword at Luyun, and said mercilessly. What? Luyun's eyes widened in surprise. He didn't expect the two captains to arrest his regiment. I advise you to consciously go back with us, Luyun. Tusen Kanami reprimanded in a cold voice. Why? I didn't commit a crime. Why should I be arrested by you? Luyun frowned slightly, and said slightly angrily, what if I refuse? Tusen Kanami stepped forward, and Reiatsu burst out of his body. Then don't blame me. Advertisement. Chapter 143. Who told you to touch my people? Open black lens bracket. Seek automatic close black lens bracket. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. If that's the case, then don't blame me. Tusen Kanami's face was gloomy, and although the blindfold covered his eyes, he could feel the anger in his heart from that indifferent voice. For justice, even killing is not hesitate. It seems that you are serious. Although I am only a member of the fourth seat, I am not someone you bully at will with the position of captain. Luyun's expression gradually became serious. He doesn't care about statements and status, but it doesn't mean he can be bullied at will, not to mention that he didn't do anything to harm the Soul Society. Why arrest him for no reason? Luyun's 4 seats, it's not that we use the captain's position without authorization, it's an order from Central 46, the two of us are just carrying out the order. Komamura Sajin said helplessly. Although the old man is also puzzled about this matter, before the truth of the matter is clarified, please consciously go back with us to accept the interrogation in the 40 wooden room. Komamura Sajin's attitude is not as tough as Tusen Kanami, but patiently dissuades. However, it was of no use. Excuse me, what's my crime? Luyun took a deep breath, tried his best to restrain his emotions, and asked again. 997 inches. Justice doesn't need any reason, since Central 46 judges you guilty, that's enough. Tusen Kanami looked at him coldly, and didn't give Luyun a step down. Suddenly, the atmosphere became extremely dignified, as if a gust of cold air was constantly flowing between the two of them. The confrontation between the three also aroused the onlookers of Rukongai residents. Advertisement. Hey, isn't this Luyun 6C who has been missing for 3 days? I didn't expect him to show up when he was on the cusp of the storm. Even Captain Tusen and Captain Komamura, who have always been low-key, took action in person. It seems that the legend that has been circulating during this period is true. It's unbelievable that the once-in-a-century genius of the Soul Society is connected to Manos Grande. Many people ridiculed, because of the appearance of Tusen Kanami and Komamura Sajin, they mistakenly believed that Luyun had committed a felony. After all, in Soul Society, Central 46's order is everything, and no one can disobey it. As time goes by, this concept is even more deeply ingrained in everyone's mind. Captain Komamura, Captain Tusen, I think you have misunderstood. That matter has nothing to do with Luyun. Not only the two of us can testify, but also hundreds of Mao's students can testify. Seeing that the two were about to fight, Madarame Makaku was eager said. To shut up. Tusen Kanami ignored him, but instead scolded him coldly. As an accomplice, you are not qualified to defend him at all. Just right, after I block him, you all follow me to the trial court of Central 46. Tusen Kanami looked righteous, and seemed to have pronounced the fate of Luyun and the others. However, his appearance really angered Luyun. Not to mention whether I have committed a crime myself, just your sentence, take me down, makes me very uncomfortable. Lu Yun said unhappily. Captain Tucson, what confidence do you have that you can beat me? Want to take me away? Then speak with your strength. As long as you can beat me, I will consciously make a decision with you. Advertisement. Lu Yun pulled out Zanpakuto, staring at Tucson Konami with sharp eyes like two sharp knives. Sure enough, it's as arrogant as the legend says. Tucson Konami didn't want to continue entangled with Lu Yun, his arm trembled, his palm smoothed the blade, and his voice was high. Tweet. Suzumushi. As the Shikai words fell, there was a burst of transparent fluctuations on the surface of Zanpakuto open black lens bracket Suzumushi close black lens bracket, which gradually condensed into substance and spread continuously in the air like ripples. This sonic-like offensive is essentially condensed by Reiatsu Cabe, and it is a special skill of Zanpakuto open black lens bracket Suzumushi close black lens bracket, Suzumushi Yi style. The sound waves produced by Suzumushi's first form can interfere with the enemy's intentions in an instant, distracting the enemy unintentionally. Buzz buzz. When the clear voice was transmitted in midair, Madarame Makaku and Ayasagawa Koki hurriedly covered their ears with painful expressions. However, as the target of the sound wave, Lu Yun's face changed, and his calm and confident expression remained. You want to arrest me with this little trick? It's too ridiculous. Because he couldn't understand Tucson Konami's behavior, Lu Yun didn't have any scruples about Tucson Konami's identity, and sneered. Afterwards, Lu Yun waved Zanpakuto casually in his hand, and suddenly a wave of Reiatsu burst out from his body, instantly dispelling all the sound waves. Suzumushi's first move was resolved so easily. Advertisement. It seems that your Shikai is nothing more than that. Lu Yun just held Zanpakuto simply, he had no intention of Shikai at all, he thought there was no need for Shikai to deal with Tucson Konami. Have you been underestimated? It's ridiculous. Tucson Konami held up Zanpakuto, and said with awe-inspiring righteousness, Lu Yun, since the moment you stood out at the conference and became an intern of the 11th team, I felt a strong uneasiness in my heart. People like you shouldn't be here. Gote 13, your existence will only be the biggest worry for Jing Lingting. Now here, I want to eradicate your hidden danger with my own hands. Tucson Konami held Zanpakuto with his backhand, and a powerful Reiatsu emerged from his body, sweeping around like a wave. After feeling this amazing Reiatsu, Komamura Sagen's expression changed, and he said in surprise, Tucson, do you want Bankai? That's right, the ordinary Shikai can't be dealt with anymore. Only by letting him despair in the dark can he redeem the twisted soul. Tucson Konami held Zanpakuto's hilt tightly, eyes closed. Just then, the accident happened again. A tall figure suddenly appeared on the street of Lin Runnen, with a sharp sealed state on his shoulder, an eye patch on his right eye, and a white Haori engraved with 11 on his black death suit. 11th Team Captain, Zaraki Kenpachi. When Tucson Konami was about to Bankai, Zaraki Kenpachi appeared. Who did I say? It turned out to be you two guys who hide their heads and show their tails. Zaraki Kenpachi roared with a ferocious face. Who allows you to shoot the people who move the 11th team? In an instant, Zaraki Kenpachi's body surged with a shocking killing intent. Advertisement. Chapter 144 1 against 2 open black lens bracket for automatic close black lens bracket. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. You guys. Who allowed you to attack the people who moved the 11th team? Zaraki Kenpachi had an astonishing aura in his body, and that ferocious face was filled with a terrifying aura. You speak loudly. Zaraki Kenpachi, do you know what you're doing? Komamura Sagen's majestic voice came out of the mask, shaking like thunder. Che, you idiots, relying on your captain's status to take action against the 4th seat of the team, you really lose face to the captain. Zaraki Kenpachi fought head to head, even facing 2 powerful captains alone, he still did not lose the wind. He stepped over and stood in front of Lu Yun. He tightly held the long sword in his hand, his arms trembling uncontrollably, not because of fear, but because of excitement. Being able to fight with the 2 captains makes the blood in Zaraki Kenpachi boil. He roared excitedly. If you want to take Lu Yun away, then kill me first. Captain. Lu Yun stood behind, looking at the stalwart figure of Zaraki Kenpachi, he was inexplicably moved. Although he has not joined the 11th team for a long time, Zaraki Kenpachi is willing to stand up for him at the risk of being punished by Central 46. This friendship is worth $1,000. It's nothing, it's just some annoying flies, don't worry about me. Zaraki Kenpachi turned sideways and showed a confident smile at Lu Yun. Xiao Jian is really manly, hee hee. Kusajishi Yakiru stood on Lu Yun's shoulder, showing a cute smile at Zaraki Kenpachi. Advertisement. Hey, Yachinliu, you and Lu Yun just watch from the sidelines, this battle will end soon. Zaraki Kenpachi held Zanpakuto high and slashed down in the air, a shocking crack appeared on the ground, undoubtedly showing his mighty. But, Lu Yun wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Madarame Makaku. Madarame Makaku patted Lu Yun's shoulder and said with a hearty smile, "Ha, don't worry. I don't think you have seen the strength of the captain when he took off the blindfold, so just take this opportunity to enjoy it." Ace Chuan added in person, "Yes, the captain didn't give his best when we fought against you last time. Don't forget, he is the man who bears the title of Kenpachi. Even if two captains join forces, it is not necessarily able to beat the captain." Oh, Lu Yun sighed helplessly, and could only nod slightly. In fact, he wasn't worried about Zaraki Kenpachi, but he didn't want Zaraki Kenpachi to stir up this muddy water. If Zaraki Kenpachi is implicated because of his own reasons, I'm afraid he will feel bad in his heart. In fact, Lu Yun is very aware of Zaraki Kenpachi's character. Once he decides to do something, he will complete it without hesitation. That said, it's going to be a never-ending fight that will never end unless Zaraki Kenpachi falls. Arrogant guy, you are truly a lunatic in Zaraki district. Komamura Sajin squeezed Zanpakuto tightly, obviously irritated by Zaraki Kenpachi's arrogant attitude. Ignore his provocation, Komamura. Tusen Kanami stretched out his arm to stop Komamura Sajin, and said indifferently, since he joined Gote 13, he has always been like this. A beast is a beast after all. Even if it is bound by rules, it will still find ways to expose its nature. Your existence is a great threat to the entire Jingling Ting, Zaraki Kenpachi. Advertisement. Cut. Don't talk to me about righteous truths. If you want to fight, just come at me. Zaraki Kenpachi sneered disdainfully, and roared impatiently, even if it's 2-on-1, it's not enough for you to test the knife. In front of countless people, Zaraki Kenpachi actually underestimated the two captains. As soon as he said this sentence, it immediately caused an uproar. Obviously the captain, why is Zaraki Kenpachi so arrogant? Is he really confident that he can defeat the combination of the two captains? Could it be that he is overly confident in order to make a strong shot? No matter how strong he is, he can't beat the two Bankai. The residents of Rukongai are talking. They are not optimistic about Zaraki Kenpachi, but think he is bluffing. Although Zaraki Kenpachi bears the title of Open Black Lens Bracket Kenpachi Close Black Lens Bracket, but he is also the captain, how can he be 1-against-2? 0 for flowers. It's annoying to be so annoying, hurry up and let the horse come here. If you are afraid of making a move, then it's my turn. The figure of Zaraki Kenpachi surged out, swung Zanpakuto and slashed at Komamura Sajin fiercely. It really is a lunatic. Through the hole in the helmet, it is obvious that Komamura Sajin's eyes flickered with a trace of solemnity. Facing the menacing Zaraki Kenpachi, he hastily pulled out his Zanpakuto. Clang! The sharp blades collided with each other, bursting out a crisp enjoyment. Advertisement. At the same time, an astonishing Reiatsu erupted from both of them at the same time. Two extremely terrifying Reiatsu shrouded the run linen block, sweeping every corner like a storm. All residents can feel this terrifying Reiatsu. Their faces were pale, and they even hid in the house and dared not go out, for fear of being implicated innocently. Ha! The power of this slash is not bad, it can barely be regarded as a warm-up exercise in the morning. Zaraki Kenpachi kept waving Zanpakuto, and at the same time roared ferociously, as if enjoying the fun brought by the battle. You dare to provoke so weakly, that's why I say you are too arrogant, Zaraki Kenpachi. Komamura Sajin fixed his eyes and held the Zanpakuto handle angrily. He lifted Zanpakuto high and slashed down in the air. The powerful Reiatsu condensed and formed, turning into a terrifying sword pressure and continuously spreading forward along the ground. Click, click, click. The ground shattered, stone chips flew across, and countless cracks appeared on the flat street. As I said, an attack of this level is useless at all. Zaraki Kenpachi hissed and roared at the top of his lungs. He also swung Zanpakuto vigorously, and a golden Reiatsu slash broke through the air and collided with the sword pressure in front of him. Reiatsu rioted, sword pressure overflowed, but did not cause any damage. Zaraki Kenpachi was unscathed, still dismissing the provocation. It's too weak, let's take a shot together. Advertisement. Chapter 145 Bankai, Yanmo Cricket Open Black Lens Bracket for Automatic Close Black Lens Bracket. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. It's too weak, you should go up together. In the situation of 1-against-2, Zaraki Kenpachi not only has no fear at all, but has the upper hand. The three Reiatsu collided with each other. Even in the face of the oppression of the two men, Zaraki Kenpachi still did not lose the wind and still chose to be tough. You guys are indeed more barbaric than the legends say. Komamura Sajin's pupils shrank, and a strong uneasiness emerged in his heart. For some reason, even though Zaraki Kenpachi simply waved the Zanpakuto, he felt like he was facing a demon. It was as if the person in front of him had an immortality, No matter how he cut it, he would not fall down. Why? Is this the end? That really disappoints me. Zaraki Kenpachi held Zanpakuto high, and again volleyed down. 793. A moonlight-like slash across the air, slashing fiercely at Tusen Kanami and Komamura Sajin. Facing this slash, Komamura Sajin didn't dare to slack off at all. Just as he was about to go all out to make a shot, Tusen Kanami took the initiative to stop him. Komamura, step aside and let me do it. Tusen Kanami said confidently. The proud son of heaven, the Iron City Wall, the Dragon's Walk, the Lion's Roar, the Tiger's Roar, and the Wolf's Run, cut off the world before it collapses. Bakudo's 81, Splitting Void. As the chant fell, a huge light curtain stood in front of him, like an indestructible barrier. Advertisement. At the same time, that slash followed closely. Bang! The slash hit the light curtain fiercely, causing countless small cracks to appear on the surface of the light curtain. But after all, it was Bakudo in the chanting state, who finally blocked the slash. It seems that ordinary slashing can no longer do anything to you. Tusen Kanami smoothed the blade, Reiatsu burst out in his body, and his voice was high. You guy who can only rely on brute force, let me show you the power of Suzumushi. He jumped into the air, his body rose into the air, his arms raised Zanpakuto, and he swiped slightly in a circle, and his trajectory was as strange as a samsara circle. Suzumushi 2, Migratory Locust. Immediately, the Reiatsu in the body condensed into substance, turning into countless sharp blades with pointed ends, falling from the air like rain to attack the enemy. Clatter. The entire sky was almost covered by thousands of sharp blades, the dazzling sunlight was blocked, and a dark cloud seemed to appear in the sky. The massive offensive seems to have the energy to destroy the entire block. Oops, Captain Tusen is angry, this is Suzumushi Shikai's strongest move. Madarame Makaku and Ayasagawa Koki both felt hopeless in the face of countless sharp knives. They thought to themselves, if the target of these tens of thousands of sharp blades is themselves, it is absolutely impossible to escape. Captain, be careful. Madarame Makaku and Ace Chuan bowed in fear and exclaimed. However, it was too late. Before everyone could react, the rain of swords had already submerged Zaraki Kenpachi's body. Advertisement. Bang. The penetration of each sharp blade will penetrate the flat ground. In less than an instant, the entire street collapsed completely, and when Wan Wan's sharp blades were completely submerged into the ground, the entire street was completely unrecognizable. Wow. The aftermath alone caused countless people to be blown away, all the surrounding buildings collapsed, countless stone chips flew across, the whole site became a mess, and a bottomless deep pit appeared in the center of the street. Thick fog filled the air, completely covering Zaraki Kenpachi's body. Did Zaraki Kenpachi survive the red migratory locust? No one knows. Countless gazes focused on the center of the street, and everyone held their breath, not daring to take a breath. Reasonably speaking, no matter how powerful Zaraki Kenpachi is, there is little hope of survival under the hands of thousands of sharp knives. After all, no matter how powerful the body is, it still has a certain limit. As Zaraki Kenpachi dead, Captain Tusen's move is so ruthless, there is no mercy. Yes, any sharp blade can easily split my body, let alone tens of thousands of sharp blades. I don't think anyone can survive such an offensive. Many people feel sorry for Zaraki Kenpachi and do not have hope for him. In the entire Run-Linen neighborhood, only Luyun, Madarame Makaku, Ayasagawa Yumachika, and Kusajishi Yakiru hold completely opposite ideas. If the captain was really that easy to defeat, he wouldn't be called Kenpachi. Madarame Makaku's mouth curled up in a meaningful arc. I think the captain should take off the blindfold, right? We can be careful, we can't bear the terrifying Reiatsu. Ayasagawa said in a mysterious way. Advertisement. Hee, I can finally see Xiaojian enjoying the battle with all his strength. Kusajishi Yakiru smiled, with two dimples on his face, looking very cute. Captain Zaraki took off the blindfold, is he really that strong? Although Luyun did not doubt Zaraki Kenpachi's strength, he still had doubts about the so-called, take off the blindfold. After you have seen his strength, you will truly understand this sentence. Madarame Makaku said solemnly. Time passed by every minute and every second, and the atmosphere gradually became dignified. Not long after, the fog finally dissipated and Zaraki Kenpachi appeared. How can that be? The moment the figure of Zaraki Kenpachi was clearly seen, the audience was in an uproar. In their field of vision, not only did Zaraki Kenpachi not fall, but he was not seriously injured except for the two sharp knives on his shoulders. Is it only 0.1? If that's the case, let's show you how I do my best. Zaraki Kenpachi smiled ferociously, and immediately took off the blindfold on his right eye. Boom. The moment the blindfold came off, an indescribably terrifying Reiatsu beam of light shot straight into the sky, and it turned out to be exactly the same as Luyun's situation at that time. This Reiatsu is so huge that it even affects the flow of air. This guy is hiding really deep enough. Didn't he use his full strength until now? Tusen Kanami's eyes were fixed, and a strong sense of crisis emerged in his heart. No way, just use Bankai. Tusen Kanami put the caterpillar in front of him. He closed his eyes tightly, stroked the blade flatly, a vast Reiatsu gushed out from his body. Bankai. Yan Mo Cricket. Advertisement. Chapter 146 Deprivation of everything in hell. Open black lens bracket. Please automatically close black lens bracket. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Bankai. Yama Cricket. Tusen Kanami put the caterpillar in front of him. He closed his eyes tightly, stroked the blade flatly, a vast Reiatsu gushed out from his body. At this moment, his aura climbed to the peak, and several mysterious circles of light emanated from the bottom of Zanpakuto's sword. Seeing this scene, everyone's hearts were lifted high, and they all held their breath, staring at Tusen Kanami's body. My god, Captain Tusen is Bankai. This is Shinigami's strongest power. Is Zaraki Kenpachi really that strong? In a 1-to-2 situation, Captain Tusen can even use Bankai. You don't feel the Reiatsu in Captain Zaraki. In the entire Soul Society, only Captain Yamamoto can compete with him, right? On one side is Zaraki Kenpachi who takes off the blindfold and unleashes all Reiatsu. On one side is Tusen Kanami who casts Bankai, unleashing the power of Zanpakuto. The actions of the two attracted everyone's attention at the same time, and it was a collision between Shinigami's strongest forces. Who is stronger and who is weaker, and who will win in this duel? Greatly awaited. Zaraki Kenpachi, I guess at 20 you just need more fights. Tusen Kanami asked aggressively. Cut. Stop talking. Advertisement. Zaraki Kenpachi was covered in the thick Reiatsu ocean, and sneered disdainfully. Tusen Kanami, don't you just want to say that you are a messenger of justice? True love beats around the bush. If you really don't like me so much, then release it quickly, unleash the power of Bankai and kill me. You are wrong, Zaraki Kenpachi. Tusen Kanami stepped forward and said coldly. It's not that I don't like you, but I can't forgive you at all. Everything you have done has undoubtedly destroyed the peace we established. I don't hold grudges against you, but for peace. I have no choice but to eradicate you. He paused, and the shining light on Zanpakuto open black lens bracket Suzumushi close black lens bracket reached ultimate. Tusen Kanami holds Zanpakuto with one hand, the other near the ring at the shoulder. As he waved his right hand, those circles of light spread towards the surroundings, and then formed a black light curtain, constantly eroding the surroundings. Tisk, is this your Bankai? It doesn't seem to be anything special, it looks more like an ordinary black mask. Zaraki Kenpachi kept looking around, with a hint of contempt in the depths of his eyes, and there was no take Tusen Kanami's ba to heart. Tusen Kanami didn't get angry, but took the initiative to explain. Just looking at it from the outside, it doesn't reflect the power of the green insect's final pose. Its truly terrifying lies in its ability to deprive the senses. Zaraki Kenpachi raised his eyebrows and said with interest, oh. Deprivation of the senses. What an interesting ability. But why don't I feel anything? Zaraki Kenpachi didn't explain too much. He swung his palm, and the black light curtain spread, quickly enveloping Zaraki Kenpachi. Because of the appearance of Bankai, the neighborhood of Run Lin was in an uproar. Everyone was curious and puzzled. After all, it was the first time they saw Suzumushi's Bankai, but they didn't understand its true ability. Too bad, the captain seems defenseless. Madarame Makaku said with a serious face. I really don't know what's going on inside. I hope the captain can decipher his ability as soon as possible. Ace Chuan had no choice but to pray silently. What's so special about this Bankai? Lu Yun was also full of doubts in his heart. This black light curtain is too weird. You can't feel any Reiatsu from the outside, but it will bring people an extremely dangerous feeling. Feel. Advertisement. Inside the black light curtain. This is Suzumushi's ultimate power, Yanmo Cricket. Tusen Kanami placed Zanpakuto horizontally in front of him, and his aura climbed to ultimate, occupying a huge advantage in the aura. What? Zaraki Kenpachi, have you experienced Suzumushi's power? Tusen Kanami walked towards Zaraki Kenpachi with a calm expression, and sneered jokingly. I forgot, you should not be able to see anything now. On the other side, Zaraki's sword, Lori's face was dull, and his heart was turned into a turbulent sea. What's going on here? Why can't I see anything? Can't hear anything? Is it true that the senses have been deprived? Zaraki Kenpachi felt abandoned by the whole world, as if he was in the endless darkness. This is simply a terrifying world without light, sound and ignorance. F.J. Tusen Kanami swung Zanpakuto, which penetrated Zaraki Kenpachi's body. Wow. Zaraki Kenpachi felt a burst of unbearable pain from the wound, and he wondered why only the sense of touch remained after the other senses were deprived. It's scary, isn't it? People who are in Yama Cricket, all Reiatsu, perception, sight, and even smell will disappear. In this world of ignorance, only one person can escape. That is the owner of Zanpakuto Suzumushi. Immediately afterwards, Tusen Kanami swung Zanpakuto again, and the sharp blade left countless scars on Zaraki Kenpachi's body. Advertisement. Tick. Tick. The blood kept dropping and Zaraki Kenpachi appeared to be stuck in a dead A20 inning where he couldn't even catch Tusen Kanami's position. However, Zaraki Kenpachi was not flustered, but extremely calm. The eyes can't see, the ears can't hear. It's really annoying. But since I have a sense of touch, as long as I can avoid the moment the blade stabs my body, at least I can't die. As for how to find his location. Yes, really, it is obviously a very simple thing. Zaraki Kenpachi only thought for a while, and immediately found a way. Sure enough, when Tusen Kanami swung the blade next time, Zaraki Kenpachi didn't dodge, but let Suzumushi run through his body. Prick. When the blade pierced his body, not only did Zaraki Kenpachi not have any painful expression on his face, but there was a kind of ecstasy of excitement. What's going on? Didn't he deliberately avoid it? Just when Tusen Kanami was wondering, Zaraki Kenpachi suddenly grabbed his arm. Yo, long time no see, Tusen Kanami. The moment he grabbed Tusen Kanami's arm, Zaraki Kenpachi regained his senses again, and he swung Zanpakuto violently, inflicting heavy damage on Tusen Kanami. This battle is finally over. Advertisement. Chapter 147 ending with a knife. 1/5. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Brush. A sword slashed, and a huge wound was torn on Tusen Kanami's body. Immediately, blood splashed everywhere, staining the ground red. Due to Tusen Kanami's physical injury, Yanmo Cricket's ability lost its effect. Vision, hearing, and smell all recovered, and Zaraki Kenpachi regained his sight and regained everything again. What's the matter? Is this the only ability? Your Bankai seems to be weak. Despite the scars on his body, Zaraki Kenpachi had the upper hand in his aura. Tusen Kanami's body fell backwards, and a shocking scar appeared on his upper body. I thought I was in control of the situation, but I didn't expect that Zaraki Kenpachi didn't dodge like a madman, but let Zanpakuto stab into his body instead. In this way, Yanmo Cricket's biggest weakness is exposed. Just find where Suzumushi himself is and give him a fatal blow to crack Suzumushi's Bankai. Outside world. As Tusen Kanami was injured, the black light curtain covering most of the street gradually shrank, and finally disappeared completely. The figures of Zaraki Kenpachi and Tusen Kanami also appeared in everyone's field of vision again. When everyone saw the blood-stained Captain's Haori on Tusen Kanami's body, they were all amazed in disbelief. How can that be? Captain Tusen lost. Obviously he cast Bankai, but he was still defeated by Zaraki Kenpachi. Advertisement. So what happened? Everyone was at a loss, and the plot turned so fast that they couldn't accept it for a while. In the case of 1 against 2, he even easily cracked Suzumushi's Bankai. Zaraki Kenpachi's strength left an indelible impression in their hearts. Damn it! You devil, I will cleanse your sins with my own hands. Tusen Kanami panted heavily. With crazy killing intent in his eyes, he held Zanpakuto with both hands, and slashed towards Zaraki Kenpachi crazily. It's such an annoying fly, Tusen Kanami. Is this the righteousness you keep talking about? Then this righteousness is too easy to destroy. Zaraki Kenpachi sneered contemptuously, and he held with a wave of the sword. Tusen Kanami was easily repelled. After being seriously injured, the strength of the two is completely incomparable. Tusen. Seeing Tusen Kanami's sluggish look, Komamura Sajin came to him in a flash, and at the same time shouted at Zaraki Kenpachi. You sinner, and the captain of Gote 13, you have hit so hard. What? Isn't it what you want to fight with me? Zaraki Kenpachi held Zanpakuto on his shoulders, and the sharp blade shone brightly under the scorching sun. He said contemptuously. Don't look at me with such eyes. If you want to avenge him, just take out your Bankai. Ha, I haven't fought so happily for a long time. Zaraki Kenpachi grinned, and there was a strong excitement on his ferocious face. HMPH, savage monster, don't think about destroying the peace of the Soul Society. Komamura Sajin, wearing a steel helmet, resolutely stood in front of Tusen Kanami. Without any hesitation, he cast Bankai immediately. Bankai, the Black Rope God's Wrath. This is the first time Komamura Sajin really went all out after realizing Bankai. Advertisement. The Reiatsu riots swept across the quartet. The mighty Reiatsu condensed a huge figure behind him. It was a mighty black armored warrior. The face below the eyes was covered with a red veil, covered with thick armor, and tied with a huge black thick rope at the back. The black rope scourges the Ming King. Enraged by Zaraki Kenpachi, Tokura Sajin unleashes Zanpakuto's full power at all costs. When Komamura Sajin took a step, the black rope Tianju Mingwang also took a step. Boom. The huge body is like a moving mountain, with an astonishing momentum. Let's go. Black Rope Heavenly Wrath King Ming. Komamura Sajin held Zanpakuto high and slashed forward fiercely. The black armored samurai actually did the same thing, and also launched an offensive against Jengshu Kenpachi. Ha 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 ha. Zaraki Kenpachi suddenly raised his head and roared with a ferocious face. He roared ecstatically. It's great, that's how it feels, your Bankai can finally make me a little more serious. Why? Come on, cut me as much as you want. Whether you kill or be killed, it's just to pass the time. If it makes me fall, swing your blade as hard as you can, Komamura Sajin. Zaraki Kenpachi looks like a lunatic, the blue veins on his face are clearly visible, every time he roars, he is accompanied by rising fighting spirit, spurting blood, and enjoying the pleasure of fighting. Just when Zaraki Kenpachi was about to fight back, the figure of Lu Kuo suddenly appeared in front of him. Let me do it, Captain Zaraki. Lu Yun said firmly with his back to Zaraki Kenpachi. Advertisement. What? This is my battle, don't meddle in it. Zaraki Kenpachi scolded impatiently. No, this incident started because of me, so let me end it with my own hands. Lu Yun's eyes were burning, and he raised Zanpakuto with one hand. Boom. When the giant blade collided with Zanpakuto, invincible, it did not knock Lu Yun's body into the air, but its own body kept moving backwards. Boom. The Black Rope Heavenly Scourge King Ming kept retreating, leaving an obvious mark on the ground. Why Wang Hao, how is this possible? You actually beat back the Black Rope with one hand. Komamura Sajin's pupils shrank, and he murmured in disbelief. As the master of Zanpakuto, he is naturally well aware of the power possessed by the Black Rope Heavenly Scourge King Ming, but when facing Lu Yun, he is obviously at a disadvantage. Is Lu Yun really that strong? Just when Komamura Sajin wanted to continue the offensive, Lu Yun opened his mouth. Captain Boken, this farce should be over, I don't have time to waste here. Lu Yun took a step forward, raised Zanpakuto with both hands, and immediately chopped down in the air. Immediately, a terrifying slash pierced through the body of Black Rope Heavenly Scourge King Ming. Boom. The huge body fell apart, and the armor on Komamura Sajin's body was shattered, and finally fell to his knees powerlessly. Still a knife. Advertisement. Chapter 148 Pressing Central 46 2/5. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. With one slash, the fierce slash pierced through the black rope Tianjuming Wang, and even Komamura Sajin was also severely injured. Ah! After Komamura Sajin let out a painful roar, his feet went limp, and he half kneeled on the ground, relying only on Zanpakuto to support his body. Just one knife, easily ending everything. When seeing this scene with their own eyes, there was a huge wave in everyone's heart. You know, the Black Rope Heavenly Scourge Ming King is a full 30 meters tall, and his whole body is covered in crimson armor, and he has an absolute upper hand in terms of size and momentum. Compared with it, Lu Yun is obviously at a disadvantage. However, the power balance between the two is so disparate. With just one blow, the Black Rope Heavenly Wrath King Ming fell apart. It's time for this farce to end. Lu Yun put away Zanpakuto, his expression was indifferent, and he didn't apologize for seriously hurting Komamura Sajin. He has a tough attitude, facing the two captains alone, but suppressing them in terms of momentum. Hateful. The severe pain made Komamura Sajin's face bulge with blue veins, he gritted his teeth and stared at Lu Yun coldly. Even though he wanted to make another shot, his rationality finally defeated his impulse. Advertisement. The two captains teamed up and failed to arrest Lu Yun. Once this matter gets out, it will definitely cause an uproar in the Soul Society. He disappeared mysteriously for 3 days, but when he reappeared, he defeated the two captains forcefully. This kind of brilliant record is enough to amaze countless people. However, here comes the problem. Tusen Kanami and Komamura Sajin came to arrest Lu Yun under the order of Central 46, but they were defeated instead. In this way, isn't Lu Yun blatantly disobeying the orders of Central 46? Thinking of this, many people feel sorry for Lu Yun. After all, in their view, Soul Society Central 46 is the sky, and their orders cannot be violated, and even Captain Yamamoto has no right to interfere. Once Central 46 is angered, Lu Yun will face severe consequences and even be expelled from the Soul Society. Finally solved these mortal flies. Zaraki Kenpachi recovered from the shock and breathed a sigh of relief. He looked at Tusen Kanami coldly, and said with disdain, "CADC, Tusen Kanami, why don't you talk about those awe-inspiring truths now? Or in the face of power, those righteousness you talk about are completely meaningless. You're just showing off for a while." Unexpectedly calm, Tusen Kanami was not offended by Zaraki Kenpachi's provocation. He said indifferently, "As I said, all I see with my eyes is the road covered with blood. One day I will wash it with my own hands. All sins, even you." Although I couldn't see Tusen Kanami's eyes, I could feel the almost twisted heart through these words. Be with me anytime. If you don't like me, just come to the 11th team to find me. Zaraki Kenpachi grinned and ignored Tusen Konami again. Let's go. Go back to the 11th team first. Under the leadership of Zaraki Kenpachi, a group of people left Run Lin and returned to Jinglingting. Advertisement. Immediately, only Komamura Sajan and Tusen Konami were left with bitter expressions in the middle of the street. There is no doubt that, with time to come, word of this battle will spread throughout the Soul Society. The 11th team, Team Affairs Room. Where did you go during this time? Why did you suddenly disappear for 3 days? Zaraki Kenpachi asked curiously. Not only Zaraki Kenpachi wanted to ask this question, but the entire Gote 13 was also curious about it. Madarame Makaku and Ayasagawa looked at each other, hesitated for a moment, and replied, Haweko Mundo. It's really Haweko Mundo. After hearing this answer, Zaraki Kenpachi felt a strong shock and yearning in his heart. In fact, during the period when they disappeared, there were many rumors that they went to Haweko Mundo. However, since the Soul Society has not mastered the technology to open the black cavity, many people doubt the authenticity of this matter. That's right, the reason why I was able to go to Haweko Mundo is entirely dependent on Luyun's strength. The two looked at Luyun at the same time, and said in a deep voice, not only that, after we reached the virtual circle, we once fought against Ijukas and even Vasto Lord. Vasto Lord. Zaraki Kenpachi was shocked. He knew exactly what Vasto Lord meant. It was an existence stronger than the captain of Gote 13. What shocked him even more was that since Luyun and the others were able to return to the Soul Society without incident, doesn't it mean that they defeated Vasto Lord? Madarame Makaku seemed to see Zaraki Kenpachi's thoughts, nodded and admitted. That's right, just as you thought, Lu Ku repelled Vasto Lord. Ha! As expected of a member of the 11th team, he was able to defeat Vasto Lord. Speaking of which, I really want to fight with you again, Luyun. Zaraki Kenpachi grinned, his fighting spirit rising. Advertisement. Who knew? Luyun refused. Captain Zaraki, let's put the battle aside, I want to solve the Central 46 problem first. Luyun frowned slightly, and said displeased ly. Why should those guys bother with them? Zaraki Kenpachi sneered disdainfully. No, on the contrary, not only will I not escape, but I will confront them head-on. Luyun stood up, clenched his fists, and said coldly, why should I be arrested? Who gave them this right? Others seemed to sense the seriousness of the matter, and eagerly asked, Luyun, what do you want to do? That's Central 46. Central 46, so what? It's just a group of groundless pedantic old men. Luyun ignored everyone's dissuasion, and resolutely left the 11th team building. Oops, looking at him, he seems to be going to question those old guys. Zaraki Kenpachi said worriedly. On the other side, Central 46. A figure suddenly appeared in front of the gate that had always been confined and no one dared to set foot on. Is this the Central 46 that controls the Soul Society? I want to see how you can control other people's lives. Luyun fixed his eyes and pushed open the door angrily. He's going to press Central 46. Advertisement. Chapter 149. You are just a group of incompetent people. 3/5. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Central 46. Here is the door closed, without any light, giving people a dark, hopeless feeling. There was silence in the huge meeting hall, and there was a dull atmosphere around it. In addition to the Central Trial Court, the members of the Central 64 Chamber, which holds the highest power of the Jingling Court, have already sat on the trial seat. Their faces were all covered by a black cloth, so they couldn't see clearly at all, appearing mysterious and majestic. Suddenly, the door of the Inquisition chamber was opened. The glaring sunlight shone on everyone's faces through the gap in the gate, making the members accustomed to the darkness unable to open their eyes. With a loud bang, the door was completely pushed open, and a thin figure appeared in everyone's field of vision. When the members of Room 46 saw his appearance clearly, their expressions changed in shock. Luyun, who allowed you to break into the chamber where the trial is going on? Bastard! Hurry up and back down. When Central 46 saw Luyun's face clearly, they were surprised, but the long-standing high position made them develop a bad habit of being superior. What's more, Luyun is just a suspect in their eyes, and he has no right to break into here by himself. From the moment Gote 13 was born, the order of Central 46 has always been an iron law for the entire Soul Society. As long as they offend them, the end is often very dire. But, advertisement. When Central 46 yelled, Luyun not only ignored them, but walked down the steps instead. Even everyone can feel the contempt in his eyes. Da da da. Every sound of footsteps hit the hearts of the members of Central 46 like a heavy hammer, and frustrated their inner arrogance. This feeling is so powerless. For the residents of Rukongai, Central 46 is the sky, and their orders cannot be disobeyed. For Gote 13, Central 46 is their destiny. If they want to keep walking on the Shinigami road, they must follow the order of the 46 room. Even Shigekuni Yamamoto, the captain, cannot interfere with the decision of Room 46, which shows how powerful this organization is. However, after 1,000 years, someone finally challenged the authority of the 46 room, ignoring their scolding, and unabashedly showing contempt. Soon, when Luyun came to the middle of the steps, one after another old voices sounded. Luyun, no matter what method you use to get rid of the arrest of Tusen Kanami and Komamura Sajin, I warn you one last time, if you go forward without authorization, you will be shot. Kill me. Luyun stopped, looked at the source of the voice, and said indifferently, even the two you appointed were defeated, what ability do you pedantic guys have to kill me? In Nuo Da's trial court, Luyun stood alone. He glanced around coldly, the contempt in his eyes was undisguised. What? You defeated the two captains? It's nonsense. The members of Room 46 were stunned for a moment, and then burst into laughter, not believing what Lu Ku said. Advertisement. You are just a fourth seat, so why speak wild words? I think you are deliberately making trouble for no reason, Luyun. Not only broke into the trial court without authorization, but also slandered us with words. Your crime is really heinous, and you should be sentenced to infernal hell. Room 46 was furious. They thought Luyun was too arrogant, and they didn't take them seriously even though he was a suspect. An old voice sounded. Huh, Luyun, you'd better restrain your temper. Now your identity is no longer the fourth seat of the 11th team, Song is just a suspect. Unmoved, Luyun gave him a cold look, and asked forcefully, what is my crime? Were you behind the Manos Grande raid? Where did you go during the 3 days you disappeared? Did you collude with Hueco Mundo? As a member of the 11th squad, but improper protection caused the death of 4 Mao mentors, you should be punished. 0 for flowers. Relying on their own power, the 46 chambers spoke out and reprimanded Luyun one after another, imposing charges on Luyun. Luyun frowned slightly, and responded gloomily, I wasn't there when the Manos Grande raid happened, and I rushed to rescue everyone at the end. This matter, Madara has 3 seats, 5 seats, and hundreds of students. Can testify. In addition, I did go to Hueco Mundo during the 3 days when I disappeared. But I didn't do the so-called hooking up with Hueco Mundo, but hunted and killed Manos Grande in Hueco Mundo. Facing the questioning of Room 46, Luyun truthfully reply. Advertisement. Huh, you went to Hueco Mundo to hunt Manos Grande. Don't be kidding. Crying laughter sounded, and the 64 sages laughed and doubted Luyun's words again. 0. Don't believe me. I've expected this kind of reaction from you guys. Luyun sneered. But, whether you believe it or not is irrelevant. Incompetent people like you have no right to judge the fate of others. After Luyun's voice fell, his gaze became extremely sharp, and his momentum gradually rose. This change immediately made the 46 room filled with strong fear. Damn guy, what do you want to do? If you dare to act without authorization, you will be an enemy of Gote 13. Room 46 was both frightened and angry, and they shouted coldly, trying to surround Gote 13 to intimidate Luyun. Stern warnings are useless. Accompanied by a strong reiatsu erupted from Luyun's body, it swept every corner of the courtroom like an ocean. At this moment, the members of the 46 room looked dull and pale, and they couldn't even breathe. You are just a bunch of incompetent people. Luyun's voice echoed in the trial court, as if to pronounce the fate of Room 46. P.S. I recommend a book, One Piece, The Super Goddess System, by a friend. It is very refreshing, very hulking and violent. Those who are interested can go and see The Mountain. Chapter 150 The Compromise of Room 46, 4/5. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Reiatsu scattered, sweeping every corner of the chamber. Under the shroud of this reiatsu, the 46 sages were pale and trembling. It wasn't until this moment that they really felt the fear of being dominated by Luyun. Unfortunately, it's too late. The always noble 46 house has never experienced this kind of experience. They have always been respected by thousands of people, and they are unique existences in the Soul Society. Facing Luyun's power now, they trembled like prisoners, not only unable to move, they could not even breathe. Whoa. Their faces were pale, their eyeballs protruded, and they struggled desperately as they grabbed their necks with both hands. Many even fell to the ground in pain, struggling in the aisle. Their expressions were in pain, and they didn't have the arrogance they had before. In the face of death, they finally took off that gorgeous and hypocritical coat, revealing their true colors. In the final analysis, they are not gods who dominate everything, but just a group of ordinary people with supreme power. No matter how powerful the power is, it cannot escape the sanction of death. Damn it, put away your reiatsu, Luyun. As the fourth seat, you dare to use reiatsu to intimidate us, you deserve death. The old man must judge you and send you to infernal hell with his own hands. Advertisement. Even in the face of death, many people still had a bad attitude and threatened Lu Yun forcefully. Having been in a high position for a long time has caused this kind of self-righteous arrogance to penetrate into the bone marrow. The 46 sages stared at Lu Yun viciously, wishing to suppress Lu Yun immediately. Their gazes were like sharp knives stabbing at the flowing body from all directions. One after another hideous veins appeared on the old faces of the sages. They were emotional and kept cursing. However, all in vain. Lu Yun not only chose to ignore them, but even deliberately aggravated Reiatsu's release. Bang! The rich Reiatsu is almost condensed into substance, flowing with the air like a piece of Wang Yang. Wherever they went, the sages groaned unanimously, their spines were crushed, their rickety bodies were unable to lie on the ground. They who have always been sitting around the judgment platform will have the taste of eating dirt one day. As we all know, Central 46 is a collective council composed of nobles and elders, so they are a group of pedantic and stubborn old guys. What makes Gotei 13 even more helpless is that even Captain Yamamoto is not allowed to raise any objections to the judgments made by the 46th chamber. It can be said that they control the supreme power of the Soul Society. For a long time, the approval process and method of Room 46 have been extremely rigid, and the judges in Room 46 have the impression that they have their own way and are impersonal, so they are very unpopular. Most Rukongai residents are afraid of Room 46. However, in front of the mighty Reiatsu, 46 Room was forced to lower its proud head. Time passed by every minute and every second, the air was almost stagnant, and only the Reiatsu Ocean was left in the spacious meeting room hovering in midair. Lu Yun stood in the center of the courtroom, his cold eyes swept over the faces of every sage. Advertisement. Indifference. If Central 46 hadn't insisted on arresting him, Lu Yun wouldn't have done such an outrageous act. He knew very well the consequences of suppressing Room 46, but he couldn't bear the bad breath. Not to mention that he himself was not guilty, not only saved the life of Mao's students, but was judged as a sinner who colluded with the false circle. It was this ruthless trial by Central 46 that angered Lu Yun. There is no need for a rigid and ruthless organization like yours to exist. Lu Yun said condescendingly and indifferently. Nobles, sages, that's just a disguise you put on for yourself. In my opinion, you are cold-blooded demons that harm the Soul Society. Even if I am against Gotei 13, I will kill you. Lu Yun's ice-cold eyes unexpectedly showed a strong murderous intent. This was the first time he had really wanted to kill after he came to Soul Society. After feeling the astonishing killing intent, Central 46's pupils continued to dilate, his face was defeated like a dead person, and his body shook violently. Their intuition, brain, and even soul made a voice at the same time. If they don't choose to surrender, they will definitely die in the next second. When the irresistible fear penetrated into every cell in the body, the proud 46 sages finally felt what despair is. Ever been on top, controlling everything in Soul Society? Ever defiantly defied the head of Gotei 13? Advertisement. Have you ever been self-righteous and didn't take anyone seriously? In the face of overwhelming power, any power or status is just a passing cloud, invisible and intangible. The only thing they can feel is death. Well, at this time, Room 46 didn't even have the right to speak. Indistinct begging sounds came from their mouths, buzzing like flies. If someone saw this scene, they would definitely never forget it. Room 46, which used to dominate everything, was crawling under Lu Yun's feet and trembling. And from the beginning to the end, Lu Yun didn't even move his footsteps, only relying on his own power and majestic Reiatsu made the 46 sages abandon their dignity and kneel down to beg for mercy. The killing intent in Lu Yun's eyes, Wang Wanghao, condensed to ultimate. Just when he was about to kill, the door was pushed open again. Stop, Lu Yun, Commander Yamamoto said majestically, breaking the silence. The moment the voice fell, his figure instantly appeared beside Lu Yun. At the same time, he waved his backhand, and a burst of hot Reiatsu surged out, abruptly rolling towards the Reiatsu Ocean in midair. Two strands of Reiatsu collided, and heart-pounding waves erupted. Captain. Lu Yun hesitated for a moment when the captain came forward, and finally restrained Reiatsu. Lu Yun, that's enough. I know very well that you are not guilty of this matter. Captain Yamamoto looked at the 46 room lying on the ground, and said with complicated eyes, if you revoke your charges and propose you to be the head of the Kido, I don't think the 46 room will refuse, right? Advertisement. Chapter 151 The most powerful Kido chief in history 5/5. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. If your charges are revoked and you are proposed to serve as the head of the Grand Kido, I don't think the 46 room will refuse. In order to calm the turmoil, Captain Yamamoto took the initiative to make a verdict for the 46 sages. Not only to pardon the so-called collusion with Hawako Mundo, but also to appoint Lu Yun as the new chief Kido. When Captain Yamamoto's voice fell, the pupils of all members of Central 46 shrank suddenly, and they shook their heads in panic. A chief officer who blatantly suppressed them was not only not punished in the slightest, but got a promotion. If this matter gets out, one can imagine what kind of consequences it will cause. From now on, the prestige of the 46th room of Yushi will be gone. Damn it. This group of pedantic old men still cast resentful eyes on Luyun. What happened just now will become the greatest shame in their lives. But, when they saw Luyun's cold and merciless gaze, they couldn't help trembling violently in their hearts. Even though he was blinded by hatred, he finally regained his sanity because of the fear deep in his soul. Sometimes, even if you are reluctant in your heart, in the face of cruel reality, no matter how proud you are, you have to bow your head and choose to succumb. Advertisement. In the face of life and death, the 46 sages 647 finally chose to linger. After experiencing the scene just now, they finally realized that they were no longer the superior masters, but a group of ridiculous clowns. In the face of absolute strength, any right is just a cloud. On the other hand, Captain Yamamoto, who was the strongest Shinigami in the millennium of the Soul Society, did not stand out for them, but instead asked Luyun to be the chief Kido. This undoubtedly shows one thing: even Yamamoto the captain is also unwilling to offend Luyun. This is the reason why the 46 sages are really desperate. In fact, Captain Yamamoto is not afraid of Luyun, but has a special, cherishing heart towards him. You must know that Luyun is the most outstanding genius in the history of the Soul Society. If he is tried or even expelled from the Soul Society because of this incident, it will be a joke. On the other hand, if Luyun is given a step down, it will not only calm the storm, but also save the lives of Room 46. What's more, Luyun showed shocking Kido talent as early as a year ago, and is absolutely qualified for the position of Grand Kido Chief. Most importantly, after the Hollow Knight incident that year, the original Chief Kido Chief Tessai Tsukubishi and Deputy Kido Chief Hashigan defected one after another, causing the Kido to lose their backbone and become a mess. Although a new Deputy Kido took office under the arrangement of Captain Yamamoto this year, the position of Chief Kido has always been vacant, and there has never been a suitable candidate. The appearance of Luyun just completely filled this vacancy. Let me be the Chief Kido. Luyun opened his eyes wide in surprise, surprised by this decision. Although he is the fourth seat of the 11th team, he also knows something about the mysterious Kido. Kido Congregation, a unit in Gote 13 that exclusively uses Kido operations. There are not many of them, but all of them specialize in Kido, specializing in tasks such as opening passages, opening barriers, and sealing. The Kido are well organized and inseparable from the other 13 teams. They are a force that cannot be underestimated in the Soul Society. Advertisement. Luyun didn't expect that he would get involved with the Kido. Although he has mastered the high-level Kido technique for a long time, due to the power of One Punch Man, when fighting with opponents, Luyun is often able to kill the opponent with one blow, so he rarely uses Kido in battle. The brilliance of the chopping technique was too dazzling, unknowingly covering up his talent on Kido. Actually, Luyun's Kido level is not weaker than other captains. That's right, CAAC would be great if you could succeed the Grand Kido. Captain Yamamoto said in a deep voice. I'm afraid you don't know. Although the Kido people seem to be united and harmonious over the years, because of the vacancy of the position of the Chief Kido, they have not been able to truly unite. But these decades but no one is qualified for this position, which led to this embarrassing situation. Luyun, I think with your ability and talent, you will definitely be able to take this position. Captain Yamamoto gave Luyun an affirmative look, and did not pursue his suppression of Room 46. But, a hesitant expression appeared on Luyun's face, and he didn't immediately agree. Although becoming the head of the Grand Kido is a joyful event worth celebrating, it means that he has to leave the big family of the 11th team. Although Luyun has not been in the 11th team for a long time, he feels a unique warmth here. Zaraki Kenpachi, Madarame Makaku, Ayasagawa Koki, and Kusajishi Yakiru left an indelible impression on him. He has a close relationship with everyone and is inseparable. We used to roam Hawako Mundo together, fight bloody battles, advance and retreat together. Advertisement. Back at the Soul Society, Zaraki Kenpachi was willing to show off for him at the risk of being convicted, defeating Tusen Konami by force. This friendship alone gave Luyun a reason not to leave. How should I choose? Luyun murmured in confusion, with a complicated look on his face. Captain Yamamoto seemed to see through Luyun's mind, and persuaded him. After becoming the chief of the Kido, your duties are the same as those of other squad leaders, and you have more freedom. It does not mean you will leave the 11th squad forever. The right to be more free. Luyun suddenly realized that if he could move freely, he could indeed return to the 11th team at any time. Has it been decided? Captain Yamamoto asked again. I agree to succeed the Chief Kido. Luyun nodded calmly. What about you? Captain Yamamoto nodded in satisfaction, then looked at the 46 sages below, and asked in a deep voice. Below, 46 sages looked at each other. They hadn't even recovered from the fear of death. When they saw Luyun's gaze, fear filled their hearts again, and they nodded in fear. Luyun, we will pass on the order. From now on, you will be the new chief Kido of the Soul Society. In this way, the turmoil subsided, and the fate of the Kido also changed. Because they will usher in the most powerful Kido leader in history. Chapter 154 Kido Practice 3/5. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Because I like you. Matsumoto Rangaku plucked up the courage and finally confessed to Luyun loudly. Accompanied day and night, caring all the time, subtle emotional blending. When Luyun disappeared, Matsumoto Rangaku suddenly realized that she couldn't do without Luyun. In order to cherish the emotion she has now, and not to lose it anymore, Matsumoto Rangaku decided to confess bravely. She was afraid of losing it again, and she didn't want to bear the pain of this kind of missing. I like you. A few simple words instantly melted Luyun's heart. His heart thumped, and the blood in his body accelerated. What's the matter, Luyun? Matsumoto Rangaku seemed to feel Luyun's heart beating faster, and asked hastily. It's nothing. Rangaku, I hope you can stay by my side forever. The front of Luyun kept approaching Matsumoto Rangaku's face, and kissed her 20 lips again. Before Matsumoto Rangaku could react, he was kissed by Luyun unprepared. Not only that, Luyun even took the initiative to stretch out his hands and put his arms around Matsumoto Rangaku's willow waist, constantly feeling the touch of the skin. Advertisement. The tactile sensation of the skin made him immersed in a wonderful feeling. Luyun couldn't help but increase his strength, and hugged Matsumoto Rangaku's waist tightly. Well, as a result, a feeling came from his waist, which made Matsumoto Rangaku lower his head shyly, not daring to look at Luyun at all. However, Luyun cupped Matsumoto Rangaku's cheeks with both hands and took the initiative to lift her chin. Before Matsumoto Rangaku could react, Luyun kissed her again. Finally, Matsumoto Rangaku was at a loss, her mind was blank, dizzy, and she collapsed on Luyun. At this moment, the two threw away all distracting thoughts and immersed themselves in the blending of selfless emotions. Two hearts seemed to melt into each other and fall in love together. In the early morning of the next day, the sun was shining brightly, and the warm sunlight poured down on the earth. Although it was an ordinary day, for Jinglington, it was like an earthquake. Although Central 46 blocked the news that they were suppressed by Luyun spread throughout Jingling Court. The aloof Central 46 was blatantly suppressed. This incident overturned almost everyone's ideas. What is even more unacceptable is that after the strong suppression of Room 46, Luyun actually became the head of the Great Kido. No matter who heard the news, they would show extremely shocked expressions. After all, Central 46 has always been a sacred and inviolable existence in their hearts, but after Luyun suppressed them, he was able to get the letter of appointment from Room 46. In retrospect, we can see how shocked people were. Advertisement. Gote 13, the team building of the first team. The decoration here is luxurious, which not only exudes a high-end atmosphere, but also looks unique among many houses. In the innermost part of the room, Captain Yamamoto sat calmly at the head. He closed his eyes tightly, waiting for Luyun's arrival. Finally, two voices came from outside. Luyun Daikido, Captain Yamamoto is waiting for you inside, go in quickly. I see, Vice Captain Chojiro. The moment the two voices fell, the door of the house was pushed open. Creak. The glare of the sun shines into the room through the windows, illuminating the dark corners, and also illuminating the face of Captain Yamamoto. Luyun walked into the room, looked at the old face, and said respectfully, Captain, is there anything special you want from me? Luyun, you are here. The moment Luyun stepped into the room, Captain Yamamoto's closed eyes immediately opened. Although Captain Yamamoto's eyes are old and deep, they contain energy and spirit, revealing a wisdom that sees through the vicissitudes of the world. He stared at Luyun, and said with relief, you look radiant, it seems that you have adjusted your mentality last night. Last night. Luyun hesitated for a moment, then nodded awkwardly. Advertisement. In fact, he not only adjusted his mentality last night, but also did a night of vigorous exercise, so he looked radiant. Recalling last night's sex with Matsumoto Rangaku in his mind, Luyun lowered his head in embarrassment. What's the matter? Becoming the head of the Grand Kido is a dream of countless people, are you willing? Captain Yamamoto mistakenly thought that Luyun was still hesitating, so he hurriedly asked. No, I'd love to. Luyun hastily explained. I'm ready to succeed. However, the captain, you specifically asked me to come here. Is there anything important? Luyun looked puzzled, expressing his incomprehension. Even the inauguration ceremony should be held in the Kido team building. Captain Yamamoto smiled amicably, and explained, although you have the letter of appointment for the 46 room in your hand, and have my approval from 003, it doesn't mean that you will be able to become the head of heaven smoothly. What do you mean? Lu Yun asked in bewilderment. Besides us, your biggest resistance is the Kido crowd. Captain Yamamoto explained. You know, since Tessai Tsukubishi defected with Urahara Kazuki, the position of Chief Kido has been vacant for decades. Although I have recruited many people over the years, I have never been able to conquer the Kido. Why the position of the great Kido has been vacant? Captain, are you afraid that the Kido will not recognize me? Lu Yun frowned slightly. That's right, although you are very strong and can defeat the captain of Gote 13 one after another, the Kido people don't value these records. The only thing they care about is your accomplishments on Kido. Captain Yamamoto said solemnly. Therefore, you have to practice Kido with me for these 3 days. I think with your talent, it is not difficult to master Kido above number 90. Kido above number 90. Lu Yun's eyes flickered, and a strong longing emerged in his heart. Before he joined Gote 13, he had already heard the legend of Kido above 90. I didn't expect to have the opportunity to practice in person now. Advertisement. Chapter 155 Hado of 90, Black Coffin, 4/5. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. A full year has passed since joining the Junyang Lingyuan Academy. The reason why Lu Yun joined Mao at the beginning was simply to get rid of loneliness. The reason why he wants to become a Shinigami is not for power, status, or even power, but just to be able to live in the beautiful environment of Jingalingting. At that time, the Kido techniques above number 90 had always been legends, and Lu Yun didn't even think that one day he would have the opportunity to practice them. However, God is so wonderful, and the goddess of fate favored him again. As the founder of Maoling Academy, Captain Yamamoto actually wants to teach Lu Yun Kido himself. If this matter gets out, it will cause a strong earthquake in Jingaling Court. Looking at the entire Soul Society, there are only a handful of people who can be personally taught by Captain Yamamoto, including Centennial Captain Kyoraku Shunsui and Jashiro Yukitaki. As the first batch of students of Maoling Academy, they have amazing talents, coupled with the careful teaching of Captain Yamamoto, they have achieved their current achievements. In addition, there is only the captain of the 11th team, Zaraki Kenpachi. When Zaraki Kenpachi killed Anawaho and replaced him as the new captain of the 11th Division, Captain Yamamoto did not reject Zaraki Kenpachi and had a secret meeting with him. With the vision of Captain Yamamoto, it is natural to see the advantages and disadvantages of Zaraki Kenpachi. Although Zaraki Kenpachi Reiatsu is majestic and keen on fighting, but his attainments in chopping are not high, and he only relies on instinct to fight. Therefore, in that secret meeting, Captain Yamamoto personally taught Zaraki Kenpachi the two-handed slashing technique. Advertisement. However, Zaraki Kenpachi has not changed his habit until now because he dislikes the two-handed slashing technique as too troublesome, and still uses the one-handed slashing technique to fight. Except for the three of them, no one in the entire Gote 13 can get the personal teaching of the captain of Yamamoto. However, history is always an astonishing reality, and miracles are often created by geniuses. Lu Yun became the fourth person. Captain, are you going to teach me the Kido technique yourself? Lu Yun took a deep breath and asked again. Because this incident was so sudden that Lu Yun, who was always calm, didn't react for a while. That's right, I not only want to teach you the Kido technique, but I also want to teach you the Hado above number 90. Captain Yamamoto seemed to have anticipated Lu Yun's reaction, and a smile appeared on his majestic face. But, isn't the Hado technique above number 90 forbidden to practice? In my impression, there are not many people who have mastered Hado number 90 in the entire Gote 13. Lu Yun's eyes flickered, and he asked in anticipation and doubt rode. Prohibition of practice. There is no such thing. Captain Yamamoto said majestically. I think you misunderstood. I did not issue an order to prohibit the practice of Hado techniques with numbers above 90. The reason why few people in Gote 13 have mastered Hado above 90 is because of their own problems. Due to the lack of Reiatsu and talent, it is difficult to control that huge power. So that's the case. It seems that I misunderstood. Lu Yun suddenly realized, since it is called one of Shinigami's most powerful killers, how can it be so easy to master? Besides, even he only mastered the number 63 Hado, Thunder Cannon, let alone other people. Advertisement. However, since I haven't practiced in the Shinyang Academy for a long time, I only mastered the Thunderbolt in Hado. At that time, the instructor's level was not high, and he couldn't teach me the higher level Kido surgery. Lu Yun said regretfully. The mentor he was referring to was naturally Matsumoto Rangaku. Although Matsumoto Rangaku is the vice captain of the 10th squad, her strength is unquestionable, but this does not mean that she is omnipotent. In fact, Matsumoto Rangaku's talent in Kido is not very good, so he didn't master the high-level Hado, and couldn't teach Lu Yun. I've known this for a long time, so you don't have to worry about it. Captain Yamamoto cast a trusting look at Lu Yun, and said, "The reason why you haven't mastered high-level Hado is because no one taught you. I believe that with your talent and the old man's personal teaching, you will be able to master it within 3 days. Master the Hado technique above number 90. 3 days. The captain thinks highly of me, doesn't he?" Lu Yun shrugged helplessly, feeling the pressure. He was afraid that he would fail the expectations of the Captain Yamamoto. "No, it's not that I think highly of you, but that you underestimate your talent." Captain Yamamoto then encouraged. "As far as I know, you easily mastered the elementary Hado on the first day you entered Mao's practice. Although you didn't use Hado much in the ensuing fight, I don't doubt your talent. However, the 3-day practice must be in a hidden place, right? Could it be here? I'm afraid that the power of number 90 Hado will easily destroy this area." Lu Yun questioned again. "You don't have to worry about this, the old man has naturally considered all the consequences." Captain Yamamoto responded. Under the leadership of Captain Yamamoto, the two came to a secret room in the team building of the first team. Advertisement. The structure of this secret room is very peculiar. The surrounding walls are made of murderous stones that can shield Reiatsu, and many powerful seals are set on it. Therefore, no matter how powerful Hado is, the secret room will still be destroyed. This can be said to be the best place to practice Kido, Zhao Ma Hao. There are not many people who can enter this secret room under the leadership of the old man. Lu Yun, you should feel honored. Captain Yamamoto's voice changed, and he said with majesty in his eyes, "I think you are also very clear that as the serial number increases, the power of Hado will also increase." Lu Yun nodded irrefutably. "Then, let's start with Hado number 90, take care, Lu Yun." Commander Yamamoto's eyes are majestic, Reiatsu surges in his body, and he begins to chant. It faintly reveals the muddy coat of arms, and the talent of being unruly and arrogant. Surge negative paralyzed for a moment, hindering the eternal sleep. The crawling iron princess, the clay doll who is constantly self-mutilating, combines, rebounds, and extends to the ground, knowing her own powerlessness. 90 of Hado, Black Coffin. Chapter 156 Amazing Kido Talent 5/5. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. 90 of Hado, Black Coffin. The moment Captain Yamamoto's chant fell, the whole room seemed to turn dark. An inexplicable unease shrouded Lu Yun's heart, and the source of this fear was the scene he saw in front of him. There, Reiatsu continued to condense, and then evolved into a desperate deep black, as if it contained a kind of terrifying energy. At this moment, Lu Yun's eyes seemed to be covered by endless darkness. When his vision returned to clear again, there was a scene that left him dumbfounded. A huge black cube appeared in vain, covering half of the room in an instant. If you look at it from a distance, it looks like a huge black coffin, exuding an aura of death. Inside the black coffin, there was a deadly silence. Even Lu Yun, who is usually calm, felt panicked. Before he could react, countless black shadow blades pierced through the black coffin, piercing through the entire space like thousands of swords piercing through the heart. Thorn. The moment the shadow blade appeared, the space twisted violently, as if it couldn't bear the force. Advertisement. Is this the power of number 90 Hado? Lu Yun's pupils dilated, and a shocked expression appeared on his face for the first time. Even when playing against 653 Holly Bell, Lu Yun remained calm. From this we can see how terrifying power Black Coffin number 90 possesses when fully chanted. You know, apart from Black Coffin itself being a high-level Kido technique, even the person who casts it is also the strongest Shinigami in the Soul Society. The Reiatsu in Captain Yamamoto's body alone is enough to destroy everything, so Black Coffin has such a powerful power, no surprise there either. However, Lu Yun was finally attracted by this force. In the past, due to the power of One Punch Man, he didn't bother to use Hado at all. After all, this skill that required singing was too troublesome in his opinion. Instead of singing, it is better to kill the enemy with one knife. But after a trip to Hueco Mundo, Lu Yun discovered that Kido is indispensable. And after seeing with his own eyes the power of fully singing Black Coffin, he was finally moved. Captain Yamamoto seemed to see the light shining in Lu Yun's eyes, and said with relief, "You see, this is the legendary Hado above number 90, now you can understand why few people in Gote 13 can master it. Fate KDB reason." Lu Yun nodded thoughtfully. Wanting to control the power of Black Coffin, the first condition is that he himself must have a strong slave pressure. The only one who can prepare for this kind of ability is the captain of Piddingtian's third team. It's no wonder that the Hado whose serial number is above 90 has always been regarded as a legend. Lu Yun made up his mind to devote himself to practicing with the captain in these 3 days. Before practicing number 90 Kido, let me first experience the power of Hado under the chanting of abandonment. Commander Yamamoto requested. No problem. Lu Yun overlapped his hands, Reiatsu surged in his body, and the violent Reiatsu continuously gushed out along the palm, and immediately turned into bright and violent thunder, sweeping the surroundings crazily. Even if the power of chanting is abandoned, it is still far superior to the power displayed by other people's full chanting. Advertisement. As expected of the Kido genius that I'm optimistic about. Captain Yamamoto nodded in satisfaction, and a touch of surprise appeared in his deep eyes. Although he was prepared in his heart, Luyun's performance still surprised him. This level of power alone is already stronger than the power of many captains who chanted completely. From this we can see how amazing Luyun's Kido talent is. What's next? Luyun asked suspiciously. It was just a piece of cake for him to unleash this level of power. If it weren't for trying to restrain the Reiatsu in his body, the power of the thunder cannon could even crush Black Coffin. Ultimately, the power of Hado depends on the majesty of the caster's Reiatsu. Captain Yamamoto said word by word. Next, try to control the Reiatsu in your body. If you want to control that majestic power, you must spend several times more Reiatsu than before, so this is not an easy task. But, Luyun, you have also mastered the chants about Black Coffin, although you can try. But, Luyun had a hesitant expression on his face, and he didn't have much confidence in being able to cast Black Coffin. However, facing Captain Yamamoto's majestic gaze, even if he didn't want to, he had to bite the bullet and do it. Ever since, Luyun chanted while recalling the captain's actions just now. It faintly reveals the muddy coat of arms, and the talent of being unruly and arrogant. Tide, negation, paralysis, a moment, hindering the eternal sleep. The crawling iron princess, the clay doll who keeps self-mutilation, combining, rebounding, extending to the ground, knowing one's own powerlessness p.e. At this time, the Reiatsu in Luyun's body rioted like a volcano about to erupt. Bang! Advertisement. Reiatsu scattered, the space distorted, and there seemed to be a roar in the air. This. How is it possible? After seeing the scene with his own eyes, even the strongest Shinigami in the Millennium couldn't calm down. I've seen him master Black Coffin just once. Is Luyun's talent really that scary? Captain Yamamoto's heart was full of turmoil. Even when he was young, he never achieved such a thing. Although Luyun is the leader of the Big Kido, in the final analysis, he still wants to be a newcomer. At this moment, Luyun's voice was high. 90 of Hado, Black Coffin. Suddenly, a huge black cube appeared in vain, covering half of the room in an instant. Black Coffin. What is shocking is that the Black Coffin displayed by Luyun is even bigger than the Black Coffin displayed by Captain Yamamoto, and it is completely condensed into substance. Just by observing the surface, one can feel the terrifying energy zone contained inside. At this moment, Captain Yamamoto couldn't be calm anymore. His eyes burst out with a burst of brilliance, and he was amazed from the bottom of his heart. Immediately grasping and displaying the Black Coffin whose power surpasses him, this matter can no longer be described as shocking. Chief, I seem to have succeeded. Luyun looked at the shocked chief, and said awkwardly. P.S. The first 2 chapters wrote something that shouldn't be written, and was blocked, and I have been revising it, and I am tired. Chapter 157 The Day That Broke the Miracle. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Captain, I seem to have succeeded. Luyun said embarrassingly. Even he himself did not expect to be able to succeed once, and the power of the Black Coffin even surpassed the Black Coffin cast by the captain. It's a good thing that the old man is looking for someone. Captain Yamamoto took a deep breath and tried his best to suppress the shock in his heart. Although he had been prepared in his heart long ago, the moment he saw Black Coffin with his own eyes, there was still a huge wave in his heart. Luyun was able to fully control and display the power of Black Coffin for the first time imitating. This kind of talent is outrageous, even the captain is a bit envious. Even though he bears the title of strongest Shinigami, it took a lot of effort to successfully master Black Coffin back then. In a simple sentence, it can be seen that the captain gave Luyun the highest evaluation. It seems that your potential is stronger than I imagined. In this way, 3 days is enough for you to master all Kido above number 90. Captain Yamamoto said gratified. Actually, I just have an advantage in Reiatsu, not a genius. Luyun responded humbly, and did not become complacent because he had mastered Black Coffin. His attitude was even more appreciated by the captain of the power. Captain Yamamoto saw the shadows of Kyoraku Shunsui and Jashiro Yukitaki from Luyun when they were young. There are too many similarities between them. Equally talented, equally humble, equally committed to the Soul Society. Thinking of this, Captain Yamamoto can't help but have a good vision for the future of Gotei 13. If Luyun can be carefully cultivated, the team will have another powerful, century captain, in time. Advertisement. Luyun is the perfect candidate. Luyun, give up the singing state and cast Hado again. Captain Yamamoto ordered. No problem. Luyun responded confidently. His eyes were burning, and Reiatsu surged in his body. 90 of Hado, officer. The next moment, a huge black coffin suddenly appeared in front of him, and a dark aura of silence was constantly floating in midair. Although the size and power of the black coffin are not as large as before, they still have the same appearance, exuding terrifying fluctuations that make people palpitate. Under normal circumstances, once Kido gives up singing, it can only exert 1/3 of its original power at most. But the black coffin cast by Luyun still has a terrifying power that cannot be underestimated, and it all comes down to the infinite power in his body. If Jingle and Jashiro saw it, they would be ashamed, wouldn't they? Captain Yamamoto murmured in a low voice, with a hint of shock in the depths of his pupils. Even the two most outstanding students may not be able to compare with Luyun. Next, let's start practicing number 91 Hado. Captain Yamamoto went straight to the point, and didn't even give Luyun time to adapt. He thought it was unnecessary. Captain, is it too fast? A bitter arc rose from the corner of Luyun's mouth, and he said helplessly, I've only just mastered number 90 Hado, shouldn't it take a little longer to get used to it? That's not necessary, Captain Yamamoto said succinctly. Originally, I expected you to master all Kido in 3 days, but now it seems that 3 days seems a bit redundant. I think only 1 day is needed. What? 1 day? Luyun opened his eyes wide in surprise, startled by the words of the captain. Advertisement. You must know that in the past 1,000 years, countless Shinigami have not been able to master a Hado with a size above 90 in their entire lives. Even the powerful century-old captain has experienced hundreds of years to successfully master it. And the chief's requirement for Luyun is to master the Kido technique of everyone above number 90 in 1 day. Isn't this too harsh? If anyone was present, they would definitely think that the captain was crazy. This thing could almost be called a miracle. However, the captain had firm confidence in Luyun, and immediately began the demonstration of number 91 Hado. The edge of Senju, the hand of the dark god who cannot be touched, the archer who cannot be reflected in the sky, the road where the brilliance falls, fanning the wind of fire. When we gather together, there is no need to be confused, follow the instructions. Light bullets, 8 bodies, 9 articles, celestial scriptures, disease treasures, big wheels, and gray turrets, draw their bows to the distance, and disappear brightly. 0 for flowers. Hado's 91, Senju's bright days and elimination guns. As Captain Yamamoto's chanting fell, the whole room seemed to become dim. A mysterious force seems to cross the boundary of space, suddenly appearing in reality. The dim mid-air was occupied by a sudden burst of red light. The powerful spiritual power in the captain's body condensed into a cone of light. In just a split second, countless rays of light appeared around his body. The atmosphere fell into tranquility, as if the prelude to the storm. 91 Hado is so powerful. Luyun's eyes flashed with enthusiasm, and he was completely moved. 0.00. Advertisement. Call out. Following Captain Yamamoto's thought, a crimson cone of light streaked across the sky like a shooting star, and traced all over every corner of the secret room. All the light cones exploded at the same time, forming an energy storm that swept across the sky. Luyun retreated quickly to avoid the strong wind. See, this is the power of number 91 Hado. Captain Yamamoto put away Reiatsu and said calmly. Fortunately, this is a secret room specially built by the murderous stone. Otherwise, the Senju Ocean Taipao fully chanted could even destroy the entire team building of the first team. Too strong. This is the first time Luyun sighed from the bottom of his heart after coming to Soul Society. Come on, Luyun, follow Black Coffin's method and perform it again. Captain Yamamoto expressed his highest expectations to Luyun. Luyun nodded solemnly, and chants came out of his mouth. In this way, 1 day passed, and outsiders did not know what happened in the secret room. When night fell, the door of the secret room was pushed open. Luyun lived up to Captain Yamamoto's expectations. With his powerful talent, he mastered all the Kido techniques above strength 10 in 1 day. Soon, the long night passed. When the sun rose, Luyun left the 11th team building and walked straight to another corner of Jingling Court. His destination is Kidozongan. Chapter 158 The Kido. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Soul Society, Jingling Court. Kido's team house and Gote 13 team merged, although they are both in Jinglington, they are not in the same area. Located on the east side of Jinglington, there is a team building similar to Gote 13, but the scale and area are several times smaller. The most peculiar thing is that there seems to be a ceiling barrier on the gate of the team building. Once someone passes through the gate without authorization, the restriction on the enchantment will be triggered immediately, causing violent energy fluctuations. Pat. Accompanied by the sound of heavy footsteps, Luyun finally came to the gate. Huh. The journey is really long. Luyun breathed a sigh of relief. He looked at the closed door in front of him, and pondered curiously, is this the mysterious Kido crowd? It really is different from other fan teams. 890. Not only is there a ceiling barrier on the gate, even standing outside the gate, Luyun can still feel the fluctuations of Kido and Bakudo. It really deserves to be a team as independent as the Technology Development Bureau. Luyun took a deep breath and stepped into the gate full of expectations. Immediately, violent fluctuations came from the ceiling barrier on the gate, spreading rapidly towards the inside of the team building like a ripple. Alarm, alert, there is an intruder. Advertisement. Since the Kido is a well-organized team with a clear division of labor, no one is allowed to enter without permission during weekdays. Therefore, the appearance of Luyun immediately alarmed the entire Kido audience. Who is it? How dare you break into our territory without authorization? Strange, why didn't the result affect him? Could it be the captain of another team? Unbeknownst to Luyun, he broke the barrier set by the Kido, which immediately caused a huge commotion. On the other hand, the Kido people did not realize that they will welcome a very special guest today, the new Grand Kido chief. The Kido team houses. When fluctuations came from the ceiling barrier of the gate, everyone's eyes immediately turned to the gate. They look dignified, ready to fight, and look like they are facing a big enemy. Sure enough, not long after, a figure appeared in their field of vision. It was a thin figure wearing a black death tyrant suit. Under the black hair was an extremely handsome face, and the kind smile that overflowed from the corner of the mouth, invisibly gave people a feeling of spring breeze. This face looks very young, but it has a unique temperament of perseverance, like mellow old wine, very attractive. He is Luyun. Advertisement. Luyun had just stepped into the gate, his strange face immediately aroused the hostility of the Kido crowd. It's just that because of the powerful Reiatsu flowing from Luyun, the Kido didn't take action immediately although they were hostile, and they all spoke angrily. Who are you and why are you trespassing on the territory of the Kido? Even if you are a member of Gote 13, you have no right to come here without orders from Commander Yamamoto or Room 46. Please leave immediately, or don't blame us for being rude. The angry Kido looked at each other coldly, and didn't give Luyun any good looks. In fact, although Luyun has defeated many captains and is famous in the Soul Society, but due to his low profile on weekdays, not many people have really seen him, let alone the mysterious Kido crowd. At this time, the Kido people regarded Luyun more as an ordinary Gote 13 player. Little did he know that the young and powerful man in front of him turned out to be the head of the rookie Kido. Immediately, hundreds of Kido people rushed to form an encirclement circle to block Luyun's way. They stared at Luyun with hostility, not allowing him to take another step forward. Sigh, as Captain Yamamoto said, the Kido don't seem to welcome strangers. Luyun shrugged helplessly. Fortunately, he had the appointment letter of Central 46 in his hand, otherwise it might cause arrogance. My name is Luyun, the purpose of my coming here today is. Before Luyun finished speaking, he was interrupted by another voice. This strange Shinigami, no matter what your purpose is today, you have offended the Kido people by accidentally breaking into the barrier. A tall, dignified middle-aged man appeared in the crowd. .0 on him wear gorgeous clothes and have outstanding temperament. When he opened his mouth, the Kido people all around cast awe-inspiring gazes at him, which even contained fanatical admiration. Advertisement. The middle-aged man stepped out of the crowd and introduced himself. My name is Ezekiel So, and I am the current deputy Kido chief of the Kido. I wonder what your purpose is for trespassing on our territory without authorization. Ezekiel So's eyes are majestic, and he has the aura of a superior person in his hands and feet, which makes people daunting. He stared at Luyun coldly, trying to oppress him with his momentum. It's a pity that Luyun was not only unmoved, but instead said, the current deputy Kido commander. It seems that you are the one who commanded the Kido for decades after Tessai Tsukubishi and Hashigan defected. Oh, you've heard of my name. Ezekiel So raised his head proudly, a look of contempt flashed in his eyes. What he meant was, since you know my name, then get out of here. Luyun ignored Ezekiel So's arrogance, but looked at him carefully. After feeling the majestic Reiatsu coming from Ezekiel So's body, Luyun nodded in satisfaction, and praised. Yes, since you have a team that is not inferior to other teams' Reiatsu, the captain, with a subordinate like you, I can feel more at ease after reaching 5.1. What? Did I hear you right? He actually referred to Deputy Chief Ezekiel Kido as his subordinate. After hearing what Luyun said clearly, everyone looked at each other with dull expressions, and immediately burst out laughing. Is this guy crazy? Even the leader of the Beijing band would not dare to be so arrogant. I think this guy is here to make trouble on purpose. Luyun seemed to have anticipated the reaction of the Kido audience. He took out the letter of appointment from Central 46 from his pocket, and stuffed it in front of everyone. This is the letter of appointment given by Central 46. From today onwards, I will take over the position of Chief Kido. P.S. Sorry everyone, I am working hard to code words. Chapter 159 Kido Showdown. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. I will succeed the Chief Keto, and this is my letter of appointment. Lu Yun flipped his palm, and the letter of appointment issued by Room 46 was clearly displayed in front of everyone. How is this possible? When hundreds of Keto people saw the unique logo on the appointment letter, their eyes widened rapidly, and the mocking expression on their faces disappeared, replaced by an expression of unbelievable horror. For a while, the audience was silent, and there seemed to be a strange and uneasy atmosphere in the air. Although this letter of appointment was obtained by suppressing the 46th house, it does represent the will of the 46th house, and no one can resist, even the maverick Keto. When everyone came back from the shock, there was an uproar in the audience. It's really the letter of appointment from Room 46. How is this possible? Damn it, those stupid old fellows in Room 46 actually appointed a young Shinigami to be the Chief Keto. Deputy Keto Chief Ezuki, what should we do? 20 the Keto members were at a loss. Although they were extremely reluctant, they did not dare to disobey the order of the 64 room. Song Neng pinned his hopes on the Deputy Keto Aso Ezuki. They all cast their eyes on Ezuki Aso for help, hoping that he could come forward to settle the storm. Advertisement. The letter of appointment from Room 64, could it be that you are? Ezuki Aso's eyes widened, and his heart was filled with turmoil. When he thought of the rumor not long ago, he suddenly realized. You are Lu Yun. A fearful voice came out of his mouth. That's right, I'm the fourth member of the original 11th team, Lu Yun. But, now you should call me Chief Keto. Lu Yun smiled politely, and at the same time put away the appointment letter calmly. With his eyesight, he can naturally observe the mixed emotions deep in Ezuki Aso's pupils. Obviously, Ezuki Aso, who has controlled the Keto for decades, is not willing to give up power easily. Why, you want to disobey the order of Central 46? Seeing that the Keto and Aso Ezuki were unmoved, Lu Yun put away his smile and scolded with majestic eyes. He took a step forward, the strong Reiatsu surged out from his body, heavily suppressing every Keto. Although Lu Yun is a low-key person, when faced with special situations, he will still show his tough side without hesitation. Bang! The Reiatsu riots weighed heavily on everyone like an invisible mountain. The faces of the Keto people changed in shock, and they bent their backs one after another, and even breathing became extremely difficult. This is only because of Lu Yun's mercy. If Lu Yun is really angry, Reiatsu alone can make them all fall to the ground. Of course, until the last moment, Lu Yun will not resort to such violent methods. What he pursues is to conquer everyone's hearts with absolute strength. Advertisement. Humph. Seeing his subordinates being suppressed, Ezuki Aso groaned in displeasure, and a majestic Reiatsu also gushed out from his body, confronting Lu Yun's Reiatsu chamber. It's a pity that even with all his strength, his aura was still crushed by Lu Yun. Ezuki Aso took a step back. Although he was defeated in the confrontation with Reiatsu, he still pretended to be tough and said, "You guy, you actually bully others. It's ridiculous. This is an order personally issued by Room 46. From today onwards, I am the new Chief Keto. Why do you say that you are bullying others?" Lu Yun said indifferently. But you guys openly disobeyed the order of the 46th room, what's your intention? In fact, neither Lu Yun nor Ezuki Aso has the slightest liking for the group of pedantic old guys in Room 46, but they are the top decision makers of the Soul Society after all. Even the commander-in-chief is not allowed to interfere with the orders given. Therefore, it is the best way to move Room 46 out as a shield. After hearing the words, Room 46, everyone was speechless for a moment, and Aso Ezuki's face turned red even more. Indeed, in front of those pedantic old guys, no matter how powerful they are, it will not help. However, Zhang is still old and spicy. Ezuki Aso has been able to firmly control the Keto for decades. In addition to his outstanding strength, he also has that calm personality. Advertisement. He took a deep breath, regained his majestic and calm appearance, and said in a deep voice, "Yes, you do hold the letter of appointment from Room 46 in your hand. But don't forget, your original identity is 11,114 as far as I know. Because of the existence of Zaraki Kenpachi, the repulsion of the 11th team is not even willing to practice Keto. Then, you who came from that place, why do you convince us?" Ezuki Aso's eyes flickered, and he asked in a cold voice, immediately putting Lu Kuo on the opposite side of the question. What he said is not true. Since the 11th team became Zaraki team, it is well known that the 11th team members look down on Keto. Since Lu Yun once held such an important position as the 4th seat, it can also explain from the side that Lu Yun also rejects Keto. 990 Ezuki Aso's words immediately won the support of all the Keto people, and they stared at Lu Yun coldly, as if watching like a joke. He wanted to see how Lu Yun would respond. In fact, it's not that the Keto people want to take risks to disobey the order of the 46 room, but that they reject Lu Yun from the bottom of their hearts and are even unwilling to accept Lu Yun. After all, They have been used to Ezuki Aso's leadership for decades, so how could they tolerate a stranger dominating them, not to mention that Luyun's appearance is too young, which naturally gives people an unreliable feel. The atmosphere was dignified, as if there was a gust of cold air constantly reverberating among the crowd. All eyes were on Luyun, expecting his response. Finally, Luyun spoke. Deputy Kido Chief Ezuki, you keep saying that I am not good at Kido, so I want to ask, how did you come to such a conclusion? Luyun's eyes were shining brightly, and he said confidently, I know that to become an excellent Kido controller requires not only talent, but also long-term accumulation. Maybe you will doubt my strength in Kido, since that's the case. Vice Chief Ezuki Kido, why don't we have a fair Kido duel? Advertisement. Chapter 160 Your Kido is nothing more than that. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. You said there was going to be a fair Kido duel. Ezuki Aso was taken aback for a moment, and then a flash of light flashed in the depths of his pupils. Although his expression did not change, his heart was ecstatic. In fact, he had heard the legend about Luyun a long time ago. Ichimaru Jin was suppressed at the freshman meeting, and he shined brilliantly, attracting much attention. Defeated Zaraki Kenpachi in Team 11 and then defeated Byakuya Kuchiki in Maoling Academy. And recently, it has crushed the combination of Tusen Kanami and Komamura Sajin strongly. It can be said that everything Luyun does is an earth-shattering event. However, just because a Shinigami is outstanding does not mean that his achievements on Kido are equally outstanding. Such examples abound throughout Gotei 13. What's more, he has been able to be the deputy Kido for decades. Ezuki Aso is one of the few Kido masters in Soul Society. Maybe he is worse than Luyun in chopping and Reiatsu, but in Kido competition, Ezuki Aso have absolute confidence to defeat Luyun. That's fine, since if you want to become a great Kido leader, you must first gain the approval of the Kido people, then let's have a fair Kido duel according to what you said. Ezuki Aso deliberately put on a magnanimous gesture, in fact, I can't wait in my heart. He even thought Luyun was looking for his own death. As the deputy head of Kido, Aso Ezuki is very proud. Except for a few people in the whole Gotei 13, he doesn't pay attention to others. He doesn't think he will lose to a rookie who is not good at Kido. Actually, feel. Advertisement. Perhaps there was nothing wrong with Ezuki Aso's thinking a few days ago. However, after a day of subterranean training, under the personal guidance of Captain Yamamoto, Luyun secretly mastered the legendary Hadojutsu with number 90 or above. Whether it is Hado or Bakudo, he has the capital to compete with Aso Ezuki. So, you agreed. The corners of Luyun's mouth raised in a strange arc. He recalled in his mind what Madarame Makaku once said, there are 3 ways to become the captain of Gotei 13. The first method is to pass the captain's exam under the witness of 3 or more captains including the chief captain, and then deliberately and logically assume the position of captain. The second method is to receive the joint recommendation of more than 6 captains, and get the approval of the other 3 or more captains among the remaining 7 captains, then you will be able to pass the assessment logically, and then you will be able to assume the position. The third method is to defeat the opponent one-on-one under the witness of more than 200 active players. Luyun couldn't help thinking of the current situation. Although Kido is a special organization independent of the 13 fan teams, its essence is no different from other fan teams. With the position of Grand Kido Chief vacant, Ezuki Aso is equivalent to the current captain of the Kido congregation. Therefore, as long as he defeats Aso Ezuki in front of hundreds of Kido people, he can justifiably succeed the great Kido chief. Both of them have the same idea and want to become the leader of the Kido, so this battle is inevitable. Kido Team Building, a wide flat land. This is the venue where the Kido people practice Kido during the day, and now the venue has been cleared to make room for the duel between the two. Hundreds of Kido people surrounded the venue, staring intently at the 2 figures in the center of the venue. Luyun, Ezuki Aso. Advertisement. One is the new Chief Kido with a letter of appointment from the 46 chambers, and the other is the Deputy Chief Kido who has controlled the Kido for decades. The duel between the two is not only a competition on Kido, but also an alternation of power among Kido. This battle is of great significance. Luyun, I have to admire your courage. You still have the courage to confront me even though you know that I am a Kido master. Ezuki Aso first praised politely, then fixed his eyes and said coldly, but courage is just courage after all. In the face of absolute strength, no amount of courage will only become arrogance and ignorance. Ezuki Aso completely tore his face, he mercilessly mocked Luyun in public. Sure enough, do you always have to taunt your opponent to boost your momentum before a fight? I've seen this kind of thing a lot. Luyun just laughed it off, and didn't take Ezuki Aso's provocation to heart. This confident attitude immediately excited Aso Ezuki. In terms of status, he is on an equal footing with other team captains, so what right does Luyun have to be arrogant in front of him? This tone is unbearable. Ezuki Aso stepped forward, and the Reiatsu in his body erupted like a volcano. Bang! Reiatsu exploded and turned into a gust of wind that swept across the surrounding area, blowing away all the sand, stones and ups and downs in the center of the field. Advertisement. Ezuki Aso's aura is rising steadily, occupying the entire aura in an instant. Reiatsu is very good, but there is still a certain gap compared to the captain of Gote 13. Lu Yun shook his head slightly disappointed, and expressed his true thoughts. This sentence once again angered Aso Ezuki. You must know that he has always regarded himself as the captain of the Kido, and thinks that he has the same status as the other 13 captains. And Lu Yun's words are undoubtedly a slap in the face in public, exposing his biggest weakness. HMPH, what an arrogant and ignorant rookie. How can a half-baked guy like you have the right to tell me what to do? Ezuki Aso was furious, and could no longer restrain promised the murderous intent in his heart, and roared ferociously, Boy, let me show you what the true power of Kido is. The voice fell, and chanting came from his mouth. Beast bones dotted all over the place, spears, red crystals, and steel wheels, moving like wind, stopping like empty, the sound of long spears striking each other filled the void city. Hado no 63, fiery lightning howl. Ezuki Aso overlapped his hands, violent Reiatsu poured out along the palm of his palm, and instantly turned into a dazzling thunderstorm, rolling towards Lu Yun crazily. At this moment, his aura reached its peak. However, facing the massive thunderstorm, not only did Lu Yun not have the slightest fear, but his expression was surprisingly calm. Although the eyes were full of dazzling flashes, Lu Yun still said disapprovingly, Deputy Chief Ezuki Kido, your Kido is nothing more than this.